All right, says we're live. Says it's preparing the live
All
stream.
right, let me check real quick. Hold up.
Yeah, just gotta
I'm refreshing it numerous times.
actually get it set up to go live.
Yeah.
Make sure we are live.
Still not showing it.
We are live. It's showing it for me.
Says we're live.
Sweet, there we go.
All right, let me check.
All right, well.
Don't share your computer sound.
Why not?
Oh, never mind. I heard something that was in the background.
Yeah, no, we're live. All right, cool.
Okay.
All right, well, welcome back to this week's edition of Fan Friday Sports TV. You may be noticing right now that it's just two of us. We were going to get on here with three of us, but Michael is he's busy today. He's as funny as it sounds, going on a little trip to his aunt's house. So he's busy today. He'll be with us next week. So today we have me and Blake. Hi, Blake. How you doing?
Doing good. Let me explain something real quick.
We should
were
definitely
expecting to go live at around 3:30. But
Not
Michael had some
3:30.
complications with his schedule and decided, all right, so we waited and we waited, and we waited and we waited.
Oh,
No,
well,
and then we find out he's in a
3:10.
yeah.
It's 5:50. Yeah.
So we have been waiting 2 hours and 40 minutes.
2 hours and 40. I love how you have the exact time down. Exact time. Now, for anyone watching, if you see me looking over to the side, I'm looking at the chat. Don't forget we have a live chat.
Hey, I'm looking at the chat also.
Comment in the live chat. Say you're here. Ask us some questions. Don't forget, while we're here, hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. And since there's only two of us, we are going to do hopefully a bit of a condensed show. Oh, yeah, Blake's in the live comments. I'm here. But yeah, since there's only two of us, we're going to try to condense it. Who knows with Blake and me, because we both, out of the three of us, probably talk the most. But we're just gonna hopefully shorten it, and really we're just gonna talk about, will there be sports in 2020?
May I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
To Tasty Poppy 1234, if you are watching, LSU is a good football team. All right, now let's go.
All right, I don't even know what you said. I was checking the audio on the video, which is
okay.
Working. So yeah, as I was saying, we're primarily going to look at the MLB, which is my specialty, my favorite sport. No one else in the group knows anything about it. Then we're going to look at a little bit of the NFL, like barely anything, and then Blake has some stuff on college football. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the MLB. So I was showing this to Blake earlier, and I think it's a pretty cool idea. But basically, there's been a proposal to bring back. Well, actually, before I get into this, the first week. So this is the third week. So 2 weeks ago, I told you guys about the Players League and all that was going on, right, Blake?
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously the Players League was only about 28 games. I think it was 28 games. So now they're into the playoffs. For all of those who actually care. Tonight on Fox Sports 1 and on ESPN2, they're going to be broadcasting the MLB, the show Players League, on those platforms Friday night. So tonight, tomorrow night, and Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, May 1st through the 3rd. They're only 3-inning games, so they should be able to get through like the whole series in days. That's why it's only a 3-day event. So if you want to watch it tonight, it's at 10 p.m. They're doing quarterfinals A and B. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. on ESPN2. This is all Eastern time. It's quarterfinals C and D, then semifinals B. Then 8 Eastern, again on FS1 is semifinal A. And then Sunday afternoon sometime, check ESPN because they're going to have the MLB Players League show Championship or World Series. Basically, first round's best of 3, second round's best of 3, third round is a best of 5. If you actually care about that, you can check that out on ESPN and FS1 if you have cable. If not, the players do stream on Twitch. Later, I'll go through and I'll put MLB the show, or I'll put MLB Network's official Twitch in the description, and I'll put some of the guys who are going to be in the playoffs, so you can watch, like Joey Gallo, Blake Snell, and Gavin Lux. So I'm not gonna lie, it's cool being able to watch those guys play video games and be at home like we are, because a lot of times superstars are elevated because they're super, like, people look at them as famous superstars. So but I mean, if you actually care and want to do that, go ahead. That'll be on, like I said, ESPN and FS1. So Blake, we were talking a little bit about this earlier, but will there be sports in 2020? I think yes. What do you think?
All right, I have this broken down into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cases for at least the college football and or the NFL, but I don't really know how some of these would apply to the NFL. But yeah, your best case scenario is you have a normal start time. You start in September. You have the fans. Their bowl games, everything, college football playoff, national championship, conference championship.
Players
everything.
feed off the fans. That's huge.
Oh yeah. Now, now say that doesn't work. Okay, have a 2020 start. Everything, but just start maybe early October, late November, maybe.
Summer was being thrown out there because
Ooh, no.
I know summer would like almost kill the players with all the heat and all their
heat,
gear,
the training,
the gear.
No.
And just the competition, the level of competition.
Like, what if I have to play in Arizona? Let's say Arizona State, and it's like a day game. It's probably going to be hot.
Be about 105 degrees.
Or there's somewhere in let's say if you play at California. Some say LSU has Death Valley. Some say Clemson has Death Valley. No. If you play at California,
it's going to turn into a real Death Valley.
That will be Death Valley.
Yeah. Now, it depends on where you go in California, because some parts of California are really cool in the summer. And our family typically goes out there during the summer. I don't know if we are this year. I hope. But
and even
I really enjoy it.
I remember week 2 when A&M played Clemson. This is September the 7th, a 2:30 game. It was 93 degrees, and A&M had at least 5 injuries. So yeah, it would be brutal.
Yeah, getting cramps. Guys would be like dragging. The heat would absolutely zap people. But I have heard the summer turn out there. I don't think that's a good idea.
No.
I think there's a good chance for the fall. But what people are saying is, I think that college football is, every day we get closer and closer, but so far it's far enough out there. I think if everything gets back to normal, college football is going to be fine. But again, this is worst case scenario. But I don't know. What were you going to say?
One other scenario there is a 2021 starting in that month I can't pronounce, February.
February?
Yeah. And just do that with basketball season. But like, what else do you have?
Would you do a February season and then still come back in September?
Yeah, you've got. Because and that might also mingle with college basketball.
Right.
know?
And one thing is that people this could change sports. If sports get on track, they either have to do very shortened seasons, or you do a full season, and then all of a sudden your whole schedule's altered unless you just skip a year. So with some people, the thought is, do we just skip the year and then go on? I don't.
No, that is my worst case scenario. It's everything in college football gets canceled. And that is my worst case scenario.
Personally, I agree with you, and the reason is because the draft was the closest thing we've had to sports in about a month, and now that the draft is over, dude, you get into the draft. It's on computer this year, right? You just sit at the computer. Even just sitting at the computer.
I'll be honest, I was snoozing during the NFL draft. The first part. I
was so bored during the draft.
Now I'll give him some credit. The first round was good. Second round, like the 4th through 7th round. Oh my heaven.
Yeah.
They didn't even announce their names, and then they had to show all these documentaries. Oh, it was ridiculous. I was so bored that I just shut it off. This was not the draft's best year. But what else could you do? Other than cancel it, you definitely are not meeting together.
No.
In Las Vegas, a highly populated city that most likely is on a lockdown.
Oh, it is. Some of the people on ESPN and stuff were like, it's completely empty. You can walk down the main strip and like no one's there.
Wow.
And
Yeah, and people are saying that for Times Square also.
yeah, see, I had a layover in Las Vegas one time. And me and my dad actually got stuck at the airport there.
Ooh.
We had to stay we stayed in a little motel next to the airport, but even then, you're out in town. So there's just cars everywhere, and to see that city just empty sounds pretty crazy. I don't know, because like I said, the draft, I was very bored during the draft, but even then it would be like, oh, the pick's in. Let me see who the pick is. Oh, I don't know it. And I was really just excited for the Titans draft.
Like, who's that guy?
Yeah. I was really just excited for the Titans draft picks.
Yeah.
And I think the Titans had a good draft year, but I think they threw away our 6th and 7th round, personally. But even after how bored I was during the draft, there was that little bit of like, oh, sports is back. And, it's that little bit of like light at the end of the tunnel that comes for a little bit, and then it's gone again because we're right back into where we were. Even though we are coming out on the tail end of it, some places like Tennessee are opening up to 50% capacity, but it's just like draft's over. I miss sports already. It was the closest thing to sports we've had in a while.
Let me throw you another scenario out there. You have start in 2020 as always, but you only have conference games. So like for the SEC, Arkansas would only play Missouri, Tennessee, Alabama, Auburn, A&M. Who am I missing?
I have no idea. Not.
Oh yeah,
really.
you're in Tennessee.
What were you saying again? I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't really listening to what you were saying.
Yeah, like have a conference only schedule.
So like,
what do you think of that? So like, for example, Arkansas is in the SEC. They would only
like
play
South Carolina
Alabama.
only plays Georgia. Georgia only plays Tennessee. Tennessee only plays Vanderbilt, Mizzou, and all that. Only in conference play.
Yes. So like, you wouldn't see for example, LSU versus Texas. That wouldn't happen.
I don't like it. Do not like it. You know why?
Yeah.
Because with how close Tennessee came to beat Alabama last year.
Oh. You lost by 22.
I know, it's a joke.
Come on.
But ask anyone who watched that game, and they will say, and even ESPN analysts say, you cannot look at the score and say Alabama won that game. You have to look at how the game was played. And yes, I get Tua was injured. That's also supposed to be humorous.
Let's say
my comment's also supposed to be made, as a joke, but made fun of. But I mean, on a more serious note, Tennessee has the number 1 recruiting class in 2021. I know Tennessee fans say this all the time, but from a purely objective, is it subjective or objective? Where you step back. From a purely subjective, that's it. From a purely subjective viewpoint, well, if you step back, put your bias aside, step back, look at the recruiting. Tennessee they're on track to do something.
Yeah.
Now, if the record book holds true, they'll have this absolutely great class of 2021. They'll play absolutely great 2021, 2022, and then all of a sudden Tennessee will fall off and they'll just be as bad as one of the worst teams. They'll be back where Texas A&M is. They get up there. I mean, let's be honest. Texas A&M and Tennessee are like the same.
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait until 2023.
Until 2023. Where will I be in 2023? I'll be a sophomore in college.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
Wait. Yeah. I'll either be
That's the next time A&M plays Tennessee.
But I mean, I've because I like 24/7 Sports, the Late Kick Show with Josh Pate. His take is, he literally said this. He said Texas A&M is like the Tennessee of their SEC division. Are you guys SEC West?
Yes.
Yeah. He said Texas A&M is the Tennessee of the SEC West. They have a good team. They have a good coach. But he said something has to happen. I believe he said something has to happen recruiting wise, and something has to happen where they just have a breakout season, and then this better be our year. They bring in.
We have one.
The thing is, if Tennessee or A&M has a breakout season, they bring in recruits. they bring in good recruits, and then hopefully you maintain that, and then you can steadily get better and better.
Yeah, because like A&M could be their breakout season. They could legitimately, best case scenario, go 11-1. But obviously, you don't beat Alabama at Bryant-Denny Stadium that often. But anyways, yeah, I see what you said.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, it's the same thing. It's kind of the same thing for both teams. Unfortunately, but we're not here to talk about Texas A&M and Tennessee, because we all know it's going to be 2 or 3 years before either one of them probably does something. Hopefully, the lesser amount of years. So, yeah, I said 2 or 3 years.
Buddy, not wait. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, but let's get back to it. So, did you have any more scenarios?
Yes.
Go ahead and run through them real fast.
This is my second to worst one, because this would be really bad. You'd lose a lot financially if you did the season but had no fans.
Yeah, I think that'd be a terrible idea.
And let me touch up on that for a minute, okay? You've got this would be a really bad thing, because one, your team comes out with the fans, and two, that's where home field advantage comes to play. Because if not, then it, in a way, like if I play at let's say Alabama,
Yeah, Alabama.
If okay, here's what we'll do. Alabama and Georgia are playing. If there's no fans, Georgia has a chance to beat Alabama in Bryant-Denny. So but you'd also lose a lot, because nobody would be buying tickets, nobody would be buying concessions, and so I think you'd lose a lot financially.
I do too. Personally, as a sport, I mean, I do play sports. I play high school baseball. High school baseball is much different than college football. And in baseball, you kind of don't hear the fans, but even just to look out and see the people cheering you on is sort of cool. And college football football players definitely feed off fans. It's the nature of college football. It's the environment that it's in. So college football can either go ahead and proceed, could do the terrible idea of a summer schedule, or they could do no fans, which it sounds like everyone's doing. The NBA might even come back at the ESPN Worldwide Complex at Disney World and have...
You know what? You've got to have fans in order to have college. That's one of the main things, or else 100,000 capacity stadium. What does that matter, All you're doing is it's like you're traveling. But let's say this. It's like Alabama playing at UConn with fans. Which better not happen.
It's like Alabama playing at Texas A&M with fans. I mean, let's be honest. I don't know if Texas A&M fans show up, but I do know you can't say it's like with Tennessee fans, because Tennessee has a losing record and fans still show up for some reason.
Exactly. Look at you can look at South Carolina.
South Carolina. South Carolina is another one where if they play big, like when South Carolina played Tennessee. Did they play Tennessee at Tennessee, or did they?
It was at Neyland Stadium, and they lost by 20. 41-21 was the final score.
Who did they play in South Carolina? What was it? They played Clemson. The day they played Clemson, I know it's a rivalry game, but you knew that they were losing that game, even if
they lost 38-3.
Exactly. Even if in rivalry games teams show up against their rivals, not South Carolina. It's like the Vanderbilt. I was gonna say it's like the Vanderbilt Tennessee game, but we're not even gonna talk about that.
South Carolina had a brutal schedule, but at least they got home games. But they had to play Alabama at home, Clemson at home.
Georgia in Georgia. That's the only good game they played the whole year.
Yeah, no kidding. Who else do they play at home? I know that all these different non-conference teams, I imagine. But anyways, yeah.
Anyway, I have absolutely no idea. But so those are just some different scenarios. If you don't mind, just read your list real fast. Refresh us on what the different scenarios.
Okay. Yeah, hang on. Let me get my list, because I threw it when you talked about it. Give me a minute.
And when you get okay. So while he goes to get his list, when he comes back, we're gonna move over to the NFL, and then we're gonna finish up with the MLB. So let me wait for him to put his earbuds back in. Okay, so Blake, just go ahead and read us off your list, and once you're done,
Alrighty, from best to worst, worst to best. How do you want it?
do from worst case scenario to best case scenario, and then
Okay.
we'll move on to the NFL.
Worst case scenario, you have no college football at all, which would be a.
All right. Getting closer to best case scenario.
No fans, and
Okay.
you start regular.
We still have football.
Conference only. You only play conference games.
Is that
No,
conference with fans?
I would think yes.
Okay. All right. What's best case scenario?
Best case. Hang on, I'm not finished yet.
Okay. My bad. I thought you only had 5.
No, start November. You can start November or October and just start a little bit late,
Yeah.
And
That's
then you could also start in 2021, but that might flirt a lot
Right,
with
in
college
February.
basketball, and the TV networks and all that.
They all favor basketball no matter what.
Yeah.
College
But then-
basketball, NBA. For some reason, basketball is always the number 1 played
Yeah.
sport.
Best case scenario, everything. Fans in September start bowl game. Hey, best case scenario, Akron beats Clemson.
Best case scenario.
That is not a
Tennessee beats Alabama.
that is not a prediction.
Hey,
not
you
gonna,
heard it here
that's
first.
Not,
He thinks Akron's going to beat Clemson.
no,
Write it down.
that is not gonna.
If this was
if
on
that-
Twitch, I'd say clip it.
If that is
Flip
going
it.
to be if that happens, I'd be a really rich man if I were a bet.
Yep. Well, Akron beats Clemson. That's what I say. All right. Moving on to the NFL.
Yeah.
Will 2020 happen in the NFL? What do you think?
I think we're kind of in the same situation as we are with college football,
Yeah, I think.
Of course, obviously the conference things switch them up. Maybe do it might be a little challenging, but you have the AFC West and the AFC East.
Yeah, you think
Have
maybe
them
doing it
play combine them and have one AFC, or one NFC,
So sort of like a little bit like what the MLB
Kind
did.
of. If you take two divisions and merge them, then you just
So-
play them for the season.
Right, like what the MLB did.
Yeah.
So you're suggesting we go back to back before it was the NFC and the AFC, it was the NFL and the AFL.
Whoa!
or the
That's going way back.
Yeah, way back. And then they combined. It was back like 60 years ago. And then they combined to make what we now know as the National Football League. So you're saying sort of go back to that.
Bye, Huddy Power. Just saying. Thanks for watching.
Yeah,
Anyways,
hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're gonna say
Yeah.
that every time we get a chance.
I
We're gonna
know.
say that every time.
but anyways, yeah. So, do you think could there be a late start? Because I know if they all play on Sunday, that wouldn't really mess up with college basketball.
Right. Well, here's what I think. So May 9th, which today is the 1st.
So in 9 days,
So
8 days.
not this Sunday, but next Sunday, the 2020 schedule is coming out.
Hold up, no, that's Saturday.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah. But
Right
anyway.
now they're scheduled to play September 10th through January 3rd. I think they're in the same situation. I
Hold
think
up,
they can
September. Say that again.
September 10th through January 3rd.
Okay. Does that include preseason?
I'm not sure, but this is from the bleacherreport.com.
Okay.
So, I really think it is the same situation as college football. The only difference is I don't know. I think the NFL I think they'll be able to play. I think the summer comes, we see some of this craziness we see right now die down a little. Fall comes. Fall is going to come around August. August is still going to be hot, but that's when fall is going to start coming.
Yeah.
It's still hot in August. It's still hot September. It gets cold around the end of September.
Yeah.
Unless you live in the South, then it stays hot
Oh.
all year round
Preach.
until you get to about January, February. So,
Preach it.
I mean, honestly, if you look at that in the South, if it's going to be hot and humid May, June, July, August, September, and then October is when it finally starts getting cold. But I've been in 70-degree Halloweens before. I think the NFL. I think as long as it's hot enough to kill a bacteria, it should be good. But who knows? That's up to the experts. but Roger Goodell said that they will be ready to play no matter what they have to choose. They're going to do everything
Yeah.
to be ready to play.
What are the chances
It is
of them
Roger
canceling
Goodell, right?
the season?
Wait, I did say it's Roger Goodell, right? Commissioner Goodell.
I think so.
We're just
I
going
don't
to
know.
say commish. Can't
Yeah.
get it wrong if we say commish.
But what
on
are
a
the
s-
chances they
On a
cancel the
scale
season?
of 1 to 10, I think we're looking at a solid 3.5 to 4.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, because like these NFL
maybe
players,
maybe
they've got
2.5 to 4.
because they've got to play. They got to earn money somehow.
They gotta make money. I mean, I get
Yeah.
they're making more money than I'll ever see in my life at once.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know. But Goodell says that again. This is according to a Bleacher Report. He says that the NFL's making sure they're making the right choices, and they're very optimistic. But they're trying to make the right choices, and they're doing a lot to have the season. So they're doing a lot now to preserve the upcoming season. Other sports like the MLB, that last from spring training starts in March. Season goes in April. They go through October. 162 games. Those sports are taking a hit, which is what we're going to actually get to next, because there's a lot with Major League Baseball as well. I know not a lot of people care about baseball, but guess what? I do, and I'm promoting the game. So here we go. But yeah, so I don't know. I think the NFL, I think it could happen. I think there's the same. I think the same situation as everything that went through with college football. I don't know. I don't know what it's like up in Seattle. I know Seattle rains a lot, so I don't know if
It's decent.
I don't know if
I've been to Seattle. It's decent.
The thing is, up in like Wisconsin, and Minnesota, I know that the summers there are not ridiculously hot. It's the southern summers that we're concerned about.
Yes.
It is Tennessee.
It hit 100
is
in Midland, Texas
Carolina.
today.
It's
It hit
Houston.
100 degrees.
Exactly. The northern and northwestern states, their summers may get hot, but I promise you, when it comes to heat index and the teams that you will be worried about the safety of the players, it's going to be the southern states. It's going to be Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia, Florida, South, the Carolinas. I don't know. It's going to be more those states, just because as someone who lives in the South, summers are ridiculous.
Preach.
I love summer because no school and I can spend all day outside, but it's hot.
Yes.
Like, you have to be okay with walking outside and immediately sweating.
Yes.
And then going back inside and just living with the fact that you're all sweaty and you stink now.
And you know what doesn't help?
The humidity.
Sunburns. And you get
sunburns don't either. Sunburns do not help.
Those are awful.
Living in the South, I think it's going to be more of if they play in the summer, it's more of a concern of the Southern teams. I know. And again, I'm not saying that it doesn't get hot in the North, and I'm not saying that it's not going to be tough on the Northern teams. I'm just saying, living in the South, you living in the South, we both know it is hot and humid and probably the worst place in the summer. From the standpoint of, like I said, you outside, you sweat, and you have to be okay
Not
with
necessarily.
just sweating.
You go to Africa, you're dead. Or
what? Never mind.
Yeah, you say it's hot in the South. I've never been to Africa, but I hear it probably gets really hot.
Yeah,
or at least on the savannah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So college football again and NFL have about the same scenarios. So let's move on to the MLB. I kind of talked with you a little bit about this to explain it to you. Since you and Michael, who again, Michael is not here. He had a busy day. He will be back next week. He said to tell you guys he was busy with all his fame stuff, which, by the way, I don't know. Michael, if you're here, you mind saying something in the chat? But later, we're about to. It's a surprise for the end of the show. But let's move on to the MLB. Okay. The MLB has had some really bad ideas for bringing the season back. Like, all the teams would just come to Arizona, where the spring training facility is. One spring training facility has terrible production quality. I know that they can fix that, but I think I speak for everyone when I say terrible production quality. You don't want to watch. So there was an idea, just every team come to Arizona, no fans, Players
Oh.
have to sit in the stands. Players have to sit in the stands apart from each other. And then the umpires have to either stand 6 feet away from the bases.
That's gonna be hard.
And the home plate umpire has to stand behind the
Yeah.
chain link fence.
They're gonna need like binoculars or something.
Let me tell you,
For them to like see.
the commissioner of baseball, Robert Manfred,
Mhm.
because of the Astro sign stealing scandal
Yeah.
and how he handled it, he took a lot of trash talk from people.
May I point out something real quick?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something I don't think I've ever done before. This is about 6 feet. Alright. Right there is the base.
Yeah.
I stand right here, and right there is the base. It's gonna be hard to tell because you got a baseman right there and you got a runner right there. So it'll be hard to tell and it'll be hard to call.
You got a baseman right
This
there.
is about 6 feet where it stands, whereas compared to the normal where it stands about right there.
They stand
So,
about 3 feet away from the
That's
bag.
just for comparison. I think that's a really bad idea.
And you are not the only one to say that. A lot of baseball fans hated it. And Robert Manfred, who's the commissioner of baseball, and his team, again, like they have since after the World Series, have been hated on and been taking a lot of trash talk and like, get him out of there. We need a new commissioner. Like, how in the world did he ever get in there? He's killing the game more than he's helping the game. However, Robert Manfred and his team finally put out something good for all the wrong he has done.
Yeah.
This is a great idea. So let's get into it. Baseball is coming back. We know baseball's coming back. That's not really questioned anymore. Baseball is coming back. It will be a shortened season. They're going to cut anywhere from 60 to 80 games. So we'll go from 162 games to about 80 to 100 games. So that's really nice to be able to have. But I'm going to show you something real fast because I think this is the biggest thing about baseball right now. So if you'll just give me a second while I try to pull this up.
Yeah.
My computer wants to, be dumb right now. You'll have to tell me.
I know.
Because I know.
There you go. You're on.
Earlier. All right, cool. So the MLB is thinking, and personally, I love this idea. I was watching on YouTube. He's a baseball content creator called Fuzzy. He's one of my favorites. Go check him out on YouTube. Watch his video. And he had a lot to say on this. He loved this idea. He had to say the 2020 season, it's a bust anyway. So, he said, if we're going to do anything crazy to baseball, do it now. He said baseball hasn't been changed in who knows how long. The rules haven't been changed that much. If we're going to do something crazy, do it now.
Yeah.
It may not stick, but this is a good experimental year for a lot of sports to just try something.
Yeah.
So
kind of get out of that comfort zone,
Yeah, and I really like this idea. If they just quit the divisions that if they just move over to these divisions right here, the East, the West, and the Central, I think I'd actually like it better than the divisions they currently have. It allows for some worse teams that normally wouldn't make the playoffs to make the playoffs. One point that he brought up is the Grizzlies and the NBA, because the NBA they already did this. I think for the MLB though, I get it. It's a lot like the NBA, but I think the MLB can use this in their own unique way. But he was saying like the Memphis Grizzlies were an under 500 team. And where the season stopped, they'd make the playoffs because of how the divisions are laid out. I love that idea. The White Sox. Okay, well, I won't even do that because then I'd just be copying his video. So I'll move on to someone else. The Arizona Diamondbacks. The Arizona Diamondbacks, they're in a pretty interesting division. They're in the West there with the A's and Texas and the Dodgers and all them. They've put together a decent team this year. They have a decent team this year. They have Madison Bumgarner, and they have Cole Calhoun, and they have some good players like Ketel Marte to build around. The way that the divisions are laid out now, I think more teams may get into the playoffs this way. It gives a chance for teams that normally would not make the playoffs to have a better chance of getting in the playoffs. And not only that, but when we look, it keeps rivalries. There wouldn't be like, okay, well, one, here's a big thing. It gets rid of the American League and it gets rid of the National League, which is a pretty big deal. Because that means that we see matchups we don't normally see between like absolute great players like Mike Trout with the Los Angeles Angels. He's in the same division as the Dodgers. And for those of you who know, Mike Trout was the American League MVP last year, and Cody Bellinger, who's on the Dodgers, was the National League MVP last year. So you really get to market the players. You can finally market player matchups instead of team matchups. Let's be honest, Blake, when you think of, do you follow the NBA? Exactly. I don't follow the NBA at all, but I know players. I know Curry. I know LeBron.
Yeah.
I know Giannis.
Oh yeah, I know all of them.
Trae Young.
Yeah.
And I know when Curry and LeBron are playing in the finals, I want to watch it because that's a good matchup. I know when Giannis and LeBron are playing, I want to watch that because it's a good matchup.
Oh yeah.
With baseball, if you get one MVP up against another MVP of the same year, you get to see just two sluggers go at it. So you can finally market the players. People don't care. I mean, I hate to say this, but unless they are diehard fans, people don't care about the sport. They just know the big name players, and they want to see the big name players do what they do. They want to see LeBron and Anthony Davis throw down 30 points a game and get triple doubles every other game. They want to see Giannis, who's an absolute giant, dunk on a couple guys. They want to see. I mean, they want to see Curry shoot his half court threes and absolutely drain it. They don't care about all the other players. They don't really care about the team. They want to see the players that are marketed. The MLB can finally do that. They can market. Here's Cody Bellinger. Here's Mike Trout. They both hit 40 home runs. They both won an MVP last year. Come in tonight to watch them play against each other. Who's gonna be better at the plate? Who's gonna be better in the outfield? Who's gonna have the better glove tonight? Not, hey, here's the Angels. Here's the Dodgers. Obviously, the Angels are gonna lose because the Dodgers are so much better. It's Mike Trout, Mookie Betts, and Cody Bellinger all playing against each other. Come see who's going to hit better, who's going to do better. It's who's going to play the game better that night, who's going to do what they do best. Right? And let's be honest, the way that I just explained it to you sounds a lot more interesting than, hey, come watch two teams play, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
You can get Christian Yelich, who's another. He was a first runner-up for National League MVP. You can get him up against Francisco Lindor, who is the shortstop. I mean, and again, that is an example that came out of the video I watched earlier. But I mean, you just get these great matchups, and not only that, but you keep rivalries, right? You still have, and the Boston-New York rivalry is not as big as it was back in the 1950s when
it was huge in the 1950s and 60s,
and probably even before that, like to the 20s. Back when they were the New York Giants. Yeah. Back when they played at the Polo Grounds and it was 500 to center.
Yeah.
Dude. And okay, I just want to say this. Back when the Polo Grounds were around, I get that you could be a dead pull hitter to 2 whatever and just hit a home run that way. But if you were a man who was using just a wooden bat with basically nothing but a hat and a wooden bat, no gloves, no batting gloves, no pine tar, and the baseballs weren't juiced to fly 600 feet, so we see more home runs. There were people who could hit home runs to center field, 480 to 500 feet there. That the baseball stadium's no longer around, but I mean, think about that. Like, no, there were a lot of inside the park home runs. I just think that's really cool. But here's something I want to point out, and then I'm going to go ahead and finish up on this.
Yeah.
We all know that the Boston Red Sox cheated, and so did the Houston Astros.
Cheating's a bad thing, kids.
Don't cheat. Yeah. I'll talk about Boston real fast. Boston, basically, their replay manager went rogue. He basically went rogue, and he's paid to decode the signs of the other pitcher, but he can only do it after the game, and he can do it before the game. He's not allowed to use the replay room during the game.
Yeah.
And a lot of teams, it's suspected were doing this. Boston's just the team that got caught. And because a lot of teams were doing this, the MLB put employees in the room to make sure they weren't doing it. This guy even made up a secret language. Like if I scratch my right eye, then it's a fastball. I mean, then it's like second sign. If I scratch my arm, then it's a first sign, right? And then like he came up with a code to go around it. Let me go ahead and get rid of the screen so I can be seen again. Okay.
Yeah. You were being seen.
Okay, that's fine. So I mean, he deliberately cheated. And there were a few players who were in on it, and then there were a few players who supposedly weren't, even though when you're in a dugout, dugouts aren't huge, so I don't know how you can't tell it. But he would relay it to a guy from the replay room, who would relay it to a guy in the dugout, who would relay it to the guy on second base, who would relay it to the hitter. Think about that. He gets it live off the replay, gives it to a guy, who gives it to a guy, who gives it to a guy, who gives it to the hitter. That's 4 loopholes you have to go through to eventually get to the 5th guy.
Yeah. It's kind of, in a way, it's kind of like the nervous system. I don't know if you compare it to that, but
I don't think I would, because
that's too nerdy.
Yeah. Anyway, so when people say that Boston did not cheat on the same level as the Yankees, yeah, that's true. All right. Boston had a rogue guy who did it. We don't even know if he did it every game, but it's not like the general manager knew that there was cheating going on and was told by the commissioner, as is every GM, to stop it.
Yeah.
And then like said he never got that email and let them do it anyway. It's not like the general man, like the head coach didn't even know what was going on, and they got punished. They got a first and second round, or they got a second round draft pick taken away. The replay official got suspended through the 2020 and the 2021 season. And even then he may lose his job and not be able to go anywhere in baseball because of it. So he may have really messed up his career in Major League Baseball. But like, they got punished. They got what they got. That's not a big deal. The big thing is Houston.
Yeah.
Houston cheated in the postseason. Houston put guys out of jobs, right? Guys that get called up, they're young, they're still messing with their pitches. Houston destroys them. They get sent back down. They never get called back up again. Or, it could be a few years before they get called back up again. Guys who are older make a comeback to the major leagues.
Yeah.
Houston destroys them. They get sent back down to AAA. They retire, or they get released.
Yeah.
So what Houston did was, I mean, I'm not saying what Boston didn't do was terrible, but even then, there's some trial and error. I mean, there is some sort of error that happens when you have a guy just going off of what he thinks is the order, versus when you built a system that tells you exactly what is coming. They built a program, Project Codebreaker, that told them what was coming. And they flat out cheated to win everything. And no matter what they say, they're cheated. And I think that their trophy should be taken away. I think that the World Series should have an asterisk next to it. And I think that all those players should be suspended for, this is very extreme. At minimum, I think they should be suspended for 1 to 2 years. But here's my thing. 1919, the Chicago Black Sox threw the World Series for money.
Yeah.
All the players that threw the World Series got suspended for life.
Wow.
I'm not so sure that this isn't another one of those situations where they all get suspended for life. I know. I said it. There you go.
Crazy.
I believe. I really do like their players as just pure talent and pure skill players. But when they cheat like that, I mean, they got nothing, absolutely nothing. I think they should be suspended for life personally. I don't know. So when we look at that, though, we still have and they did that to LA, the Los Angeles Dodgers. They did that to the Dodgers in the World Series. Look at who they'd be in the same division with, the Dodgers. Yeah. So that's what I got to say on Major League Baseball. I think, baseball's coming back. We know baseball's coming back no later than June 2nd, but no later than June 2nd, but no earlier than the last week in May.
Yeah.
So, hallelujah. I've only have 3 more weeks to wait until baseball comes back. I've only been waiting since the beginning of spring training. Yeah. And even then, since the end of October. So, again, just to recap, college football, NFL, good chance that they could come back. We don't really know what they're going to do. Baseball, we know for a fact is coming back. And really, honestly, just watch baseball, guys. there's going to be a lot more MVP caliber player versus MVP caliber player, and there's going to be a lot more drama when it comes to who is in Houston's division, especially when it comes to the Dodgers versus Houston, because Houston is already under such like everyone, so they won't cheat. So will the Dodgers beat them? Will Houston win? I think both teams will win equally, but I really think the Dodgers are going to beat up on Houston. Anyway, anything, Blake? You have anything else you want to say?
Not really. Go Ags, and I do want to do one thing real quick. And,
okay, go ahead.
Shout out to Huddy Power, who is the only person other than I to throw in our chat. Go subscribe to him. He makes great content. And with that, we will end our podcast for this week. Next week, we're going to tune in to us next week when we are going to attempt for the fourth time now.
We're going to try 3:30.
We're going to try let's try 4.
Or 4.
4 o'clock is what we're going to try.
Guys, here's what we're going to do. Let me look in the camera and be all serious right here. Guys, we try to go live at 4 for you guys, right?
We got on at 3:15.
We cannot control what our other co-host does and when he decides to get on. So we will be on Friday, sometime between the afternoon and the evening as usual. Anyway, guys, I said I had a special surprise at the very end. Tasty Poppy 1, 2, 3, 4. Thanks for coming back. Boo Aggies. LSU is obviously better. He didn't say that. I did.
They lost a lot of talent, just saying.
I'm sorry.
74-72.
Hey, as a Titans fan, come on, Tigers. Go Tigers. I'm a Vols fan and a Titans fan, but we got Christian Fulton.
It's so ironic being an Aggie fan.
All I'm saying is
that we
got the best cornerback in all of college football.
Let me say something. Alright, I'll give you that. But let me say something real quick. Being an Aggie fan, the LSU and the Texas matchup is really ironic, seeing our 2 worst rivals battling out against each other. It's just
even Texas is in a match. Anyway, all right. Like I said, I had a quick surprise at the end.
Yeah.
At the end of our podcast before we got on, or before we signed off. Like we all know, we've said it a bajillion and 10 times. It seems like no, not subscribed. But hey, since it's mentioned, that's a great idea. Subscribe. But no, actually, what it is as you know, our third host is not here because he is busy today. So, guys, let me just share my screen real fast. All right, you guys need to do this. All right, go to SoundCloud right now.
Yes.
Go to SoundCloud. Look him up on SoundCloud.
He's also on Apple Music. I might also add that. He is also on Apple.
Look him up. September Legend, guys. All right, let me go real fast.
He makes great content, you know.
I just want to play this. I just want to play a little bit of this song for you guys, right? Let's go right here.
They ain't a match, just have fun. Don't forget the boys, she ain't the one. She just making noise, rainbow color bands.
All right, there you go. Hey, you're only going to be able to hear the rest of the song if you go check him out, soundcloud.com. Put in September Legend. That's what.
Or Apple Music.
Or Apple Music. About to make that our background
he makes great content.
About to make that our background track the whole time we do the podcast.
But with that will conclude our Fan Friday Sports TV episode.
Hey,
week 3.
Don't forget, subscribe again. Yo, guys, I just want you to see this. I'm gonna do it every week until you hit that subscribe button. All right?
Yeah.
I just want you to see something. Let me turn that up since it's the outro. You know, and I'm in charge of that today. Subscribe button again. It's just right there, dude. Just press that subscribe button. Bell's right next to it, guys. Look at that. It's red. Mine's not because I'm subscribed for my.
Hold on. What is that video?
This is college football cheap shots.
Oh, I've seen that.
Guys.
Yeah.
Guys.
Please subscribe. We really appreciate it. We have hit a record 6 people watching us.
Oh yes.
So,
but our first video has 40 views and last week has 20, and I enjoy doing this podcast.
So do I.
It's a lot of fun. When sports actually gets back, we're gonna have so much to talk about.
Oh yeah. Hopefully, when our co-host joins back next time, if he does, we'll have a lot to talk about. But for that, I'm Blake Donahoe. He's Colton Wells. We'll see you.
We will see you guys next week.
Good night.